Some churchgoers in Vancouver are feeling a bit taken aback after being confronted by protesters on Sunday. The protesters were there to claim that the Catholic Church and other religious bodies have covered up thousands of deaths of children at Indian residential schools. And they say many of these children are buried in unmarked graves. APTN's Rob Smith has more.
In a symbolic gesture meant to evoke the actions of a 16th century monk, Kevin Annette tapes a document to a church door in Vancouver.
You think that'll work? I hope so. It worked for Martin Luther.
But he's not looking for reformation. Annette wants an admission.
We know there are burial sites at former Catholic residential schools all over the country.
Oh boy, that's a pretty
eyewitnesses have
contentious allegation.
No,
and if it's substantiated, but then make sure that it's substantiated.
It's substantiated by their word. That's all we need.
Well,
so if
then the authorities have to deal with that. I mean, I can't deal with it.
Why shouldn't the church do it? They're the ones who did it. Your employees did it. Your priests did it.
Annette alleges the Catholic, Anglican, and United Churches conspired with the federal government to commit genocide at Canadian residential schools. He alleges that as many as 50,000 children died at the schools over the course of a century, with the victims buried in unmarked graves.
Where are the children? Where are they buried?
It's a question that caught parishioners at Holy Rosary off guard.
Well, bless you all. We would like you all coming to church.
Their priest, Father Glenn Dion, isn't convinced.
Okay, I'll read that later. It's been debunked. It has been. And this is a bit of a, I don't know, a fuss made for maybe the sake of some notoriety.
Annette bases his allegations on testimony from dozens of school survivors. He also authored 2 books and produced a documentary. Father Dion says it's a matter for the police.
If there's some truth to what the allegations are, please, anybody who knows anything, bring it to the authorities.
But some protesters say they don't trust the RCMP, believing it played a substantial role in a conspiracy to cover up the deaths.
They worked with the Catholic Church and all the other churches in order for them to create and to continue the genocide of our people.
Some of these allegations will likely be brought before the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. That's the body set up to hear from residential school survivors and those who ran the system. But with those in charge of the commission being selected by the Prime Minister, Annette isn't putting much faith in it being unbiased.
The selection panel that's going to choose those 3, they include the former moderator of the United Church, Bill Phipps. I mean, you can't, it's like having Clifford Olson's relatives on the jury. That kind of system doesn't work. You have to have the survivors themselves being the one to determine, the course of this, I think.
A schedule for the commission's hearing has yet to be released. For APTN National News, I'm Rob Smith in Vancouver.